Thanks for tuning in to BloombergQuint. Now, as our topic suggested, the idea of this broadcast is to try and explain in a nutshell what is this investment by Silver Lake in Reliance Retail mean for you as a shareholder of Reliance Industries. And ever since I entered journalism, I know my colleague so I've known him for the last 15 years, and I've known that he's looked at Reliance for each of those 15 years at least, if not more. And let me get in Sajeet into this conversation as well. Sajeet, I'm sure you've written something about Reliance, which will be there on our website, if not already.
Hello.
But can you hear me, Sajeet? I can't hear you. Hello? Sajeet, 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
I can hear you now. Great. Sajeet, oh no, we've lost that feed, Sajeet. Just turn it around. Somehow I can't see you in the right fashion. So let's get Sajeet. All right, now we have Sajeet as I would have wanted it. Sajeet, so tell us, I'm a minority shareholder of Reliance Industries. What does this investment by Silver Lake mean for the company and thereby for me? Okay, well, teething troubles. We'll get that going in just a minute from now, I'm sure. But once Sajeet is back, that's what I would want to get an answer. Now, I'll just lay out in a nutshell what this would mean, right? So you think of it from this perspective, viewers, that Reliance already had a valuation for its oil and gas or oil to chemical business. Then by virtue of Facebook investing in Reliance Jio, you had an investment for that side of the business. What was a bit of a black box was retail. Now, with the Silver Lake investment into Reliance Retail, which they've done at 7,500 crores for 1.75% stake, it values the company at 4.21 lakh crores. Now, to my mind, compared to the numbers that we have heard of in the past, these numbers might seem slightly iffy, but we still got to put all of these numbers into perspective, and Sajeet has done that. Sajeet, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so if you promise not to go away, let's start off with what this means for Reliance Industries.
Okay, the entire valuation of Reliance is based on its holding company for the retail ventures, which is called Reliance Retail Ventures. Within the Reliance Retail Ventures, you have its various other investment arms, which includes the flagship arm, which is Reliance Retail Limited, which owns the entire retail outlets for the Reliance Group. And all the investments are now gradually happening through the holding arm, which is the Reliance Retail Ventures Limited. We saw the future deal also happening through Reliance Retail Ventures Limited, and that's how the structure is now been formed for the Reliance Retail. What Reliance has today asked us informed the stock exchanges is that Silver Lake, which is one of the existing investors in Geo platforms, they will be investing nearly $1 billion or 7,500 crores for a stake of 1.75% in Reliance Retail Ventures. This values the company at 4.21 lakh crores at a pre-equity valuation or pre-investment valuation, which basically means that prior to the investment of Silver Lake, the equity value of Reliance Retail Ventures was 4.21 lakh crores. Now, there is a reason why it comes to 4.21 lakh crores. It's primarily because just a week back, we saw Reliance infusing funds into Reliance Retail Ventures Limited. That was at a valuation of 682.25 rupees per share. And that was for nearly 11,650 odd crores, which they infused through a private placement into Reliance Retail Ventures Limited. Now, Reliance stake, which was roughly 94.45% at the end of March, it went up by marginally to 94.6% after the private placement. But what did that private placement achieve was very simple. It gave a base valuation for the Reliance Retail Ventures, and that is a base valuation which is been used to sell the stake to Silver Lake, and fresh equity will be sold to the investor. Now, Silver Lake will be getting 1.75% equity, and at the same valuation at which Reliance invested just a week back at that 682.25 per share.
Sajeet, now, so therefore, one, is this low or high compared to what the market was believing? Because everybody's besieged with these numbers, right? That Reliance Retail shares in the private market were at 400 some time back, and now they're at 1200, but this values the per share value at 800 or 600, multiple numbers. Any idea about these numbers?
So, Reliance Retail shares are in the market, and Reliance made it very clear that they're not going to list Reliance Retail. It's going to be the Reliance Retail Ventures, which will be listed eventually, because the stake sale happens in the holding company there. And based on the assets for Reliance Retail and the valuation which was floating around in the market for last 1 or 2 months, if you look at the brokerage reports which is floating around, it basically says that uh, like CLSA had a enterprise value of nearly 70 to $70 billion. Nomura had an enterprise value of nearly $77 billion for Reliance Retail, and these two were some of the high end ones. The lower end ones were were Morgan Stanley, which was $44.8 billion. So if you look at the average of it, it comes to nearly 61 billion or $62 billion or something. That's an average coming for estimates, which basically means that the retail or the brokerages were trying to pencil in a higher valuation for retail, and maybe Reliance is not able to get that in the market. We've been talking to some of the investors, and especially in the Middle Eastern markets, where Reliance has been in touch with many of the investors. The word was that they were seeking a valuation of $60 billion, and at the same time, we had brokerages who are putting in the valuation and put of $70 billion, because that allows them to increase the price target of the company for Reliance Industries. But now that the valuation is now coming to roughly around 58 billion or 59 billion, it's a slightly discount to the average street valuation.
But
For some
marginal, right?
brokerages,
But marginal.
marginal, yes, those are marginal compared to an average. But if you look at some of the aggressive brokerages who had penciled in $77
70
billion and $70 billion,
is
and
much
based on
lower.
that, we had a price higher price target. Like CLSA at $70 billion had a very high price target for Reliance. So at that valuation, they will have to do some corrections of the Reliance Retail book as part of the overall valuation of
SOTP.
Reliance. And
Yeah.
that would mean that there will be some kind of pressure on the valuation from the brokerage side, unless
Yeah.
other entities are going to come in. Now, it's just the first investment which is coming at by Silver Lake. It does not bring in strategic value to the company. It's only an investor who's coming in. Unlike in the geo platforms, we saw Google coming in or Facebook coming in, and investing money. And though those investments were made at a discount to the other financial investors, it brought in some value for the geo platforms going forward from a strategic point of view. But here, the stakes are more in the line of financial investment, and unless a strategic stake comes in, uh, I assume that the strategic stake will be at a discount to the financial
Discount.
investors. So that would be something to watch out for. So Street will have to mellow down the valuation of Reliance Retail and eventually the valuation of Reliance Industries as a whole to look at the valuation, because now first deal has happened and Bloomberg is reporting KKR will soon be investing another some amount in Reliance Retail as well. So I assume that it's going to be at the same valuation unless Reliance is able to get a better valuation from there. Uh, Another reason which Reliance Retail would like to seek a higher one is that Reliance Retail Ventures went and acquired Future Group's retail and wholesale and logistics arms for nearly 24,000, 25,000 crores. Now, that could have added some value to the push for valuation by Reliance Retail, but it seems they are not able to do that in this market.
Yeah, maybe the market too, and let's wait and watch if indeed the any kind of strategic investor coming in, if that strategic investor comes in at a sizable discount or a marginal discount or at par. At par would, I mean, I don't just feel might be very very difficult. Just one thing, Rajit, that I think I'll be watching out for, if indeed on the back of this, and maybe not just this, but if another two or three investments come, because if Geo is any indication of how Reliance tends to announce its investments coming in, they could happen in a bit of a hurry. But it'll be interesting to see how brokerages react to this valuation that has been done, and whether if this is used as benchmark, what's the kind of cut that comes into the overall Reliance prices. I think we'll get some idea maybe today
Yeah,
evening or tomorrow morning.
because I was looking at the CLSA note that came in after some news reports came in about uh, you know uh, Silver Lake
That
trying
stake
to
sale,
invest.
huh?
Yeah, that came in I think few days back. And that report mentioned about a 17.7% discount to their estimates, which was there. Now I'm assuming that they will have to correct those estimates
Right.
to bring in to justify. And how will they justify the price at the same level? It's something which we need to
Got
look
it.
out for, and
Yeah.
that's how other brokerages will also have to readjust the pricing or the sum of the parts which Reliance is valued at.
Mm. Mind you, viewers, just one last thing. I don't know if Sajeet has had a chance to speak to somebody. I'll let him have the last word. Just keep in mind that Reliance as a stock is doing very well. As things were about to shut trade today, or as they're about to shut trade today, Reliance is up 2.5%. So, in some fashion, on a dull day, the market has given some bit of thumbs up to Reliance. And the two or three people that we spoke to did say that they now expect a splurge of other money to come in. And I think probably people will take the view based on that. Sajeet, I just wonder. I mean, we spoke to Sudeep, for example, Deven Choksi, etc., and all of those guys were optimistic, but they've largely been bullish on Reliance. Did you have a chance to speak to somebody who was either a bit circumspect or a bit wary about the valuation at all thus far,
No, I haven't spoken to people, but I've read some of the reports which is coming around
which you
this
alluded to?
post Geo and after the Reliance Retail news which has come in. And I was a bit surprised also when these guys are valuing the brokerages are valuing it at nearly $70 billion or so. And at that point in time, we had put out a copy also saying that this is a high valuation which they've been giving, and it's basically the valuation is based on 2022 numbers. Uh, Even at 2022 numbers, $70 billion look a little stretched. Uh, if you have been following this industry, and unless you are able to transform the entire industry and what geo platforms and Reliance Retail is trying to do through an online omni-channel model, and how successful it will be and how it will be able to get in the cash by 2022. uh, Justifying a $70 billion would be a little tough. There's no doubt about it that they will get the major chunk of the organized retail market, uh, which every brokerage is also writing about. But valuation is going to be a little tough going there, because you're just discounting valuation for the next 2 years, and then justifying it is going to be a tough one for many of the investors. So it's not that there isn't demand for the Reliance Retail Ventures stock, which is which Reliance is trying to sell. Will be enough investors. The question is that will they be able to get a premium to the current valuation?
Hmm.
And I think it's going to be a little tough given the current environment and the current way retail is being looked at, because that's one of the sector which is
Right.
little stretched as we speak.
Sure enough. And viewers, keep in mind, though, the only caveat to all of this is that equity investments discount the future in a meaningful way, and the valuation may set a benchmark to the valuation. I don't think Sajid by any means is trying to say this means that the Reliance stock should go up or down. We do not comment
No,
on that.
not at
We do
all.
not comment on that. But yeah, this
No,
since
we
this
don't comment on
valuation,
that. Uh,
it's the
we
base.
just to clarify,
Sajid, quick 30 seconds. We
we
have 14 minutes already.
Yeah, so just to clarify that O2C details are expected soon, and the balance sheet is expected soon. So you will see some kind of revaluation happening for the OTC segment as well. So let's see how it when all the three pieces fall into place, which is geo platforms, retail, and OTC falls into place. It will then give you a better view of how Reliance is going to be placed.
Okay, that's a pertinent point too. So, viewers, I hope you got some idea about what this investment by Silver Lake means for Reliance, and I hope it's beneficial to you. From Sajid and myself and our team, thanks so much for tuning in.
Thank you.